Hello, family. Welcome back to the Explore the Extraordinary podcast. My name is Betty, and today I'm joined by Champ. And Champ is a hyperdimensional artist. He shares about spiritual ascension knowledge through social media. I'm totally fangirling right now because I have been following your work for years. And Champ has this great this map, the Great Awakening map. And I have it as the background of literally every piece of technology that I have. It's the background of my computer screen right now, all of my work computers, my phone, because I am really into the idea of manifesting this optimal timeline that this map shows. And there'll be links in the liner notes of this episode where you can check out the map. You can download it for free. You can buy merch about it, all those cool things. So I'm really excited to have a conversation with you today, and I'm going to toss it right over to you and we'll start this experience.
Thank you so much, Betty. It's truly an honor for you to have found me and invited me onto your podcast because it's been a while since I've done a podcast talking about psychedelics. So when you emailed me, so many thoughts were going through my mind of how to talk about them after not having experienced the hyperspace realms for many years now. I don't even know how many years it's been, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8+ years since I had my most profound psychedelic experiences. And those experiences I would consider near-death experiences. I mean, we can go into the scale of how close they were to an NDE or whatever, but I was very happy that you found my work. And I'm very happy to share all of the greatest secrets that I've discovered on my spiritual journey. And ever since living in Los Angeles during 2018, even a little bit before that, during those times of my life, that's when I was really into practicing meditation and discovering the hyperdimensional realms that are found on psychedelics. So during that time of my life, I was doing a lot of exploration, consciousness exploration. I was listening to the work of Terence McKenna, and from his hours and hours of YouTube videos that you can find about all of his intellectual lectures, I literally immersed myself into his world for months and for years. And I became so inspired that I put the intention out to the universe that I wanted to discover psychedelics and I wanted to practice with them to the point where I was able to go through what is known as a heroic dose. And when you are a meditator, you're able to catch your consciousness before fear arises. And that is one of the most important aspects about psychedelics, is that you have to be able to understand what fear is, how to overcome it, and how to actually see through it so that you are always safe in any situation, not only just in life, but especially on the deepest psychedelic trips that you'll ever take in your life. I didn't really explain to your audience what psychedelics are, but I'm assuming that from your audience, they would probably know by now that these are known as entheogens. I consider them as medicinal teachers. And these medicinal teachers are able to softly put it, they can eject your consciousness into higher dimensional realms that exist around us at all times. Yet they are invisible to our naked eye when we are going through our life on a day-to-day basis. But unbeknownst to us, these hyperdimensional realms that exist around us at all times, they are simply accessible through the purposeful act of raising our consciousness through these medicinal teachers. So on my journeys, I've had many levels of journeys where sometimes they are just soft encounters with visuals within one's room at night, for example. This is very common for most people who are beginners with psychedelics. But you have to remember that with any type of activity like this, you can compare it to skydiving, or you compare it to going diving. It's not something to be taken lightly, and you have to practice for many times, and sometimes even for many years before you can have a very successful experience. So like skydiving, you have to go with a trainer, and you have to jump with someone attached to you for many jumps before you can actually go solo. It might take weeks before you can be brave enough and skilled enough to go solo. So for a psychedelic trip, to do a heroic dose, as Terence McKenna has taught on the psychedelic known as psilocybin mushrooms, this is known as a 5-gram dosage. And he advocates doing it in silent darkness. So this means that you would take psilocybin mushrooms with a 5-gram dosage in a completely dark room, and to even turn up the volume even to the max even more, you would wear noise canceling earmuffs, and you would also make some sort of blindfolds over your eyes so that you can create what is known as a sensory deprivation room, sensory deprivation chamber in your house, homemade. And this is a way that you are not distracted by your outer appearances within your home or your room. It's very important to have a full consciousness experience. This means pure 100%. Your pineal gland is fully open, and your eyes are physically closed, but your pineal gland is open during these experiences. And sometimes they can be open up to a few minutes. So as you are sitting in meditation, and after you've eaten the mushrooms and maybe an hour has passed, this is when the visions will start to appear. And the visions can be so intense that there's a point when you realize that, uh-oh, have I taken too much? Am I going to die tonight? And this is a very common theme that a lot of psychedelic explorers encounter. It's called going through the door of death. It's like compared to like a membrane or something like that. You encounter this moment where you have to either commit to dying, or you will have to fight it during the whole trip, which may take 6 to 7 hours. And this would be a very negative experience, to fight it and try to not freak out like you're going to die. So what a lot of psychedelic explorers do is when they encounter this door, this moment of death meeting them, they accept it and they fully embrace the moment that appears. For example, let's say you were in a vision and you realize that, okay, my body is back on Earth, but I actually took too much and I'm going to die now, and I'm just going to accept it. And whatever happens, whoever finds my body, I'm going to be at peace with it. And if you can go through this moment, it's very difficult and it's very deep too. This is a very deep state of consciousness. If you're able to make this fearless decision and accept it, then this is what I would consider to be a near-death experience, although other people could argue that it's not considered one. But for psychedelic explorers, yes, we have been through this moment many times where we realize that this is the point of no return. This is known as the transcendental object at the end of time. And it's also known as crossing into the Bardo, which is a term from Tibetan Buddhism. I myself am a Buddhist yogi. I practice Vajrayana Buddhism. This is the same as the Tibetan Buddhism lineage. And as a yogi, we study the Bardo, and we study after-death experiences. And we are taught how to navigate these higher dimensional realms of consciousness at the moment of death and passing through the moment of death. So at that time, in 2018, I wasn't yet a fully ordained yogi. So I wasn't really that knowledgeable about the Bardo, but somehow my consciousness was ejected to the very bottom layers of the Bardo. I was literally seeing into what is known as the Pure Lands. And the Pure Lands are higher dimensional realms of consciousness that Buddhist practitioners are able to enter into at the moment of death. And these Pure Lands are these heavenly realms of light and bliss, and they're full of beautiful, ineffable imagery of sacred scenes of mystical cosmic temples and Buddhas and ascended masters and volumes of text in languages that you can have never imagined seeing, like ancient languages, as well as languages that you would recognize, such as Chinese and Tibetan and Hindi and even Egyptian I've seen. And I've never studied these languages in my life. So I'm being presented with this most magical place that you can only describe as heavenly. I mean, there's no other words that come close to compare. Heaven, Pure Lands, hyperdimensional realms, palaces, celestial palaces of bliss, full of laser-like diamond prisms, shimmering gold. There's no shadows in this realm, so you are faced with just hyperdimensional landscapes imbued with light. Every object is made out of light itself. There's no sunlight, there's no artificial lighting. Everything is pure light. And when you see this scene for the first time, the beauty of it is so otherworldly that I like to say that it was terrifyingly beautiful. It was so beautiful that I was scared to my bones. That was one of the most amazing sensations that you could ever imagine feeling. It's like, you know, people go on roller coasters because the thrill is beautiful and is scary, but this is unlike anything you could have ever experienced. When astronauts go into space, there's this phenomenon known as the overview effect. I don't know if you've heard about this. Well, when astronauts look out of the spaceship for the first time and they see Mother Earth below them, they have this spiritual awakening and they freeze and they can't say anything for maybe 30 minutes to an hour when they see the blue marble beneath them. And this is very similar to what happens when you are in these near-death experiences, especially as we're talking here with psychedelics. You are fully ejected into this realm of pure love and bliss. And it's a sensation that you've never felt before in your life as a human. But now that you return to it, you realize it's deja vu. You've been here before. You've been here in past lives, countless past lives for eons. It's a very familiar feeling. And it's a very familiar feeling of love and acceptance and completeness. It's like everything is done. There's nothing more to do. You can just rest. And this is known as a non-dual consciousness, a consciousness that's not grasping or craving at reality anymore. Enlightenment is known as a mind that is free from attachment and craving. So you could say that these realms are a glimpse at what enlightenment can truly mean. It is a taste of enlightenment for a few minutes because your mind has fully let go of attachment to this world and has let go of fear. And when you let go of fear and you surrender to the universe in that moment, you are in a state known as the non-dual mind of awareness. Non-dual means it's not in a duality of me and other. It's just in a pureness, a pure oneness, a supreme evenness. And this is this is known as enlightenment. So you can say that these experiences bring you to a very ascended state of awareness, to not only your true state of being, but of the whole universe. Because in that moment, you are connected back to the oneness of everything that was already there the whole time. It's so natural. It's so, like I said, it's deja vu. You return and you're like, oh, this is what it should have always been. And okay, this was my story about mushrooms, but it was actually a story about mushrooms and another psychedelic known as dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT. So DMT is what gives you these super hyperdimensional celestial palace type of visions. And at the same time, there are moments of that vision where you are just in a pure state of white light, which is very common in all near-death experience stories. And this white light is not just any light, it's like a nectar. It's a vibrating nectar that has a certain viscosity to it. It's like in the Buddhist teachings, they say the Pure Lands, everything is so comfortable and safe there that if you were to walk on the ground would give way. Like it wouldn't be a solid ground. It would be soft and gentle, like when you put your foot down. It would move as if you were like walking like on a waterbed or something. But you can think of it as like liquid light. Nectar is the proper term. Amrita, okay, Amrita is the proper term. So this white nectar light is so sacred and so profound. When you see it, it doesn't look real. I don't know how to explain. It looks like a computer generated image that's running at like 1,000,000 frames per second, like 1,000,000,000,000 frames per second. It has this smoothness to it that is beyond anything you could ever explain with the human eye. Because you're seeing it with pure pineal gland, third eye activation. You're seeing things as they truly are with no filter. And that's the most beautiful thing you can't imagine. It's beyond the mind, okay? So this is a little taste of my little intro to how I discovered these hyperdimensional realms, experimenting with psychedelics as an artist many years ago. And this is part of my spiritual awakening. And it's what started it's probably how you found me on my Instagram, because I created this Instagram page so I could find other psychedelic explorers who had these experiences, especially with the DMT. And I met a lot of people who had NDE experiences, and I still talk to them to this day on my Instagram. There's a lot of people around the world who contact me all the time who want to talk about their experiences. And when I met you and I saw your podcast, I was so happy, because this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to have a way for people with these mystical experiences to come together and share everything that they've seen, because I think that we need to build a database. We need to build a mapping system where we can map the hyperspace, which is a futile activity. It's never going to be complete, but we can at least try. We can at least take the first step, even though it's nearly impossible to catalog such an infinite phenomena. But as humans, we try. And
Yeah, well, I'd love to talk about that a little bit. Thank you so much for sharing. Because, I think that the similarities between the spiritual experiences, it seems like there's a lot of different paths to get to the same understanding. And I think that it's really important to be open-minded to all of these different kinds of paths. Like IANDS as an organization, we're not promoting anything, but just giving information to our community, I think is really important, because the parallels between these psychedelic experiences and the near-death experience, they're identical. They're completely mirrored experiences. So I think that there's something worth mentioning there. I do want to share the screen, and I'd love to just show your art. I'd love to show the map, because this really helped me so much in my own integration process, to see that somebody's mind had mapped out a bunch of the experiences that I was having. And it's like this huge, beautiful thing. And I don't know if you want to maybe get into a little bit about how you were able to channel this into this art. Like, did all of this awareness come directly from you, or was this from other people's experiences as well, and you started mapping them?
okay, the map I created in 2018. This is when I was still living in California. But just to fast forward for your audience, the year now is 2024, and I moved to Thailand 6 years ago. So I've been living in Thailand for 6 years as a yogi, practicing and studying meditation and as well as Vajrayana Buddhism. And I'm sort of living as a digital nomad. I have passive income to live and travel throughout Thailand anytime I want to. So before all of this happened, back in 2018, I was living as a freelance graphic designer, and I had studied metaphysics for 10 years prior to creating this map. So as soon as I graduated UC Irvine in 2007, I lived for a decade as a freelance graphic designer, and I was taking all of that time, that 10 years, to just study consciousness, study meditation, study all of these rabbit holes that you see in the Great Awakening map. And I realized after 10 years that there was this big picture view of reality that other people were not putting together themselves. You have like, in my map, I have like hundreds of names of researchers. And these are all researchers who were like the avant-garde of the metaphysical community, okay? And even Terence McKenna's name is in there, for example. Terence McKenna is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, psychedelic explorer of all time. So you have all of these expert researchers from all these topics. I put them all together because I wanted the world to realize that there's a bigger picture of reality that you need to know. And when everything connects to each other, you will understand why things are the way they are in this world. And I wanted to wake people up from living in the matrix, and I wanted them to see the light of enlightenment. I wanted to lead people into the spiritual path and show them that, hey, there's a lot more to this world than you've been led to believe since you were born. And if you are brave and willing enough to take a leap of faith and study this map and get lost in it, you will find secrets in there, secrets of the universe that can actually transform yourself in such a way that your body can actually turn into pure light if you want to go that far, like, Star Wars, Jedi. Or if you just want to, practice yoga, open your third eye, balance your chakras, it's all there in the Great Awakening map. And that was my work to humanity, to just red pill as many people as I can with one meme. So I'm glad that you found it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I found it too, because a lot of the things that are in this map were part of my own spiritual awakening, my own near-death-like experience. So many of these things. And I think the thing that I love the most about it is that, like you just shared, this is stuff that you studied for a decade, and that I can't even imagine going down the rabbit hole of all these things. Sometimes I look at the map and like a new thing will pop out to me, and I'm like, I can't. I don't have like the brain space to go into another rabbit hole. I'm happy with like the dozen rabbit holes that I have created for myself. But I think that it's totally incredible that you've been able to articulate all of this. And I know that anybody looking at it can look at it and find something that resonates with them on some part of their spiritual journey. And for me, this map helps me practice the spiritual principle of open-mindedness, because there's so much to it. And so my awareness can continue to expand the more that I take time to look at it. And I look at it all, multiple times every day. So I love that so much. And I want to talk about like the height of the map, where it talks about this great solar flash. And I'd love if you could just maybe give us a little bit of insight about what that means and what you think that looks like.
Okay, that's a really big topic and also very controversial. But it has to do with this ancient prophecy that almost every ancient religion on Earth talks about. And it talks about a time on our planet that occurs every 25,000 years, 25,900 years to be exact. There seems to be this consciousness event that takes place that is able to shift the consciousness of all living life on Earth up one octave, or maybe up one key. I forgot how it's put. But you can think of it as, it's like an upgrade. When you upgrade your iPhone. When you upgrade your iPhone, you download information into it that makes it better, okay? And it seems that every 25,900 years, there's this mysterious flash of light that emits from our sun, This is not a solar flare. This is a solar flash. It's like a transcendental light, intelligent light that is given off by the sun. And when it makes contact with Mother Earth, it's able to raise the consciousness of all living life instantly to like the next level, to the next octave. So if you think this is true, then you can imagine that this is how evolution on Earth has been for millions and millions of years. All life on Earth evolves in steps. It's called stepped evolution theory. And if you look through all the fossil records and you look into the archaeology of Earth, you will find these stepped layers where some shift happens and everything kind of changes within these periods of 25,900 years. And it's a very profound topic. And if you want to go even a step further, when you start to go into past life regressions, even with near-death experiences, some people can have past life regressions during these experiences. You will find this information in past life regressions. This is the most amazing part. And Dolores Cannon, who has done over 10,000 clients throughout her life, when she has taken her clients through their past life regressions, you have thousands of people who have never met each other, but in their hypnosis sessions, they will automatically speak about the Great Solar Flash, and they all say the same thing. There's this celestial event that occurs on Earth that will upgrade the consciousness of all living life instantly. And this is known as the Great Solar Flash. There's other names for it in ancient religions, but this is what it's known as in the metaphysical community. So I hope that
that's really
inspires you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think of it too as just like a near-death experience. People have these experiences and they see the white light, right? And then they come back and they're changed, like their DNA is changed, their awareness is changed, their consciousness is expanded. And so I think that the people who have near-death experiences, when they come back and they're able to articulate and share about their experience, it's to pave the way, plant these little seeds that perhaps that's going to happen to every living conscious being, like you just shared. So, I think it's so important to share information, to put it out there so that I think it can make people less fearful. Like this is a beautiful thing that we're experiencing now. Some people are already experiencing that kind of transformation in their lives and holding that space for the collective to have that experience as well. So I just, I love everything about this. I'm all about this life so much. I want to see if there's anything else that you feel called to share about while we have this space together, because there's so much in the map and there's so many questions that I want to ask, but I know that you probably have great articulate kind of spiritual knowledge to share. So I just want to give you some space to share.
Okay, this is a good chance for me to introduce myself. Throughout my life, I've always been an artist and a graphic designer. And up until the year 2018, this is when I first discovered what is known as Dzogchen meditation. And Dzogchen is a lineage of Tibetan Buddhism that focuses on a style of meditation that leads somebody to what is known as the rainbow body of light at the moment of death. And out of all the thousands of topics on the Great Awakening map, the most profound and the most sacred and my most favorite topic is known as the rainbow body. At the moment of death, a advanced spiritual practitioner, if they've been practicing any form of non-dual meditation, and they have also like healed their heart of all types of negative afflictions throughout their life, at the moment of death, they are able to transform their body into pure light. It literally transforms into light. And sometimes there are no physical remains left behind. The body completely disappears over the course of less than 7 days. So this is known as the light body ascension in metaphysical terms, and in Buddhism is known as the rainbow body. So this is my favorite topic, and I was so inspired when I first started learning about it that I actually became a yogi, so I could practice meditation in this lineage. And for the past 6 years, I've been practicing Dzogchen meditation, and I have been a student of many amazing, great teachers and great lamas, not only in the East, but in the West. My first 2 lamas lived in Orange County, California, and they were 2 Dzogchen lamas that taught me everything I needed to know until the moment of death: how to practice, how to practice Dharma, how to live my life, and to prepare for the Bardo, which seems like a far thing away, but you never know the moment of death. As a Buddhist practitioner, you are always prepared for death, and death is something that you practice meditating on. And I asked you earlier before we started our show if you knew the term Bardo. And Bardo is the Tibetan word for intermediate stage, an intermediate level. So at the moment of death, there is a state of consciousness that one goes into, is known as going into the Bardo. And it's a moment after death and before the moment that you are reborn into another life. Okay, so this Bardo can last for weeks or months to somebody who just passed away. And in the Bardo, you are met with every spectrum of emotion, from the most fearful, terrifying sensation, feeling, emotions to the most blissful. And in this Bardo, you will have to encounter all of these visions that you have created through your karma, not only from this life, but from countless past lives that have been stored within your, how do I say, within your your primordial consciousness. So how can I put it? As a yogi, we practice meditation during our lives so that at the moment of death, we are able to fearlessly cross over with no regrets and with no attachments to life. And this fearlessness is what allows a practitioner to enter the Pure Lands. And from the Pure Lands, one is able to meet other ascended masters, such as Buddhas, thousands and millions and trillions of Buddhas that have lived throughout the cosmos. They're there residing in these Pure Lands. And then it sounds crazy, but on DMT, on high doses of psychedelics, people encounter the very, very bottom layers of these Pure Lands, including myself. And that is why I became a Buddhist yogi, is because I already had proof of these incredible realms that exist after the moment of death. And it was something that was so natural to follow in life, as, okay, I already seen the truth. I might as well pursue it as much as I can to the moment I die, because there's nothing else more important in this life now than preparing for death. I've already seen proof of what happens, where your consciousness goes. I already have proof that I'm not just going to be a rotting corpse in the ground and that's the end of it. All the things that I've learned in this life, that's it. There's a continuation. Life continues. It never ends. It's just a wheel, a cycle. And for me to know this alone is not enough. I need to share this with other people so that they can also make life-changing decisions that can lead them on the path of Dharma, of ascension, of enlightenment. This is very important for me in my life, is to help people awaken to the true potential of their human condition, I guess you can say. I want people to realize that there's so much more that the human body is meant for in this life. And if we are so lucky to encounter the teachings of Dharma in this life, then I encourage everybody to at least practice meditation. And if you are able to do more than that, then dedicate your life to becoming a Dharma teacher. Practice Dharma, teach meditation, help people understand their levels of consciousness, help people to understand the importance of being fearless at death. having no attachments left to this world, you are able to freely traverse through the higher dimensional realms with your consciousness without having to reborn negatively back into samsara, to have to redo the matrix again, sometimes not even in a human body, sometimes in something lower like an animal or a bug, or even a spirit, a wandering spirit, or something even lower than that. They're known as hungry ghosts. These are negative rebirths where you aren't in a human body, and it's nearly impossible to find Dharma teachings that allow you to escape samsara. So this is a very profound topic that could go on for episodes.
Wow, yeah,
But this
definitely.
is a little taste.
We definitely have to have another conversation. I want to ask one question that's coming up for me while you're talking, because you're talking about so much spiritual awareness. So how do you ground yourself in your human experience when have so much metaphysical knowledge?
The most important thing at the end of the day, if I die today, if I die tomorrow, the whole point of all of the knowledge that I've gained is supposed to make you have peace. You're supposed to be able to be at peace in any situation that life brings. That's the whole point of all of this knowledge. The more wisdom, the more peace. And to take it even further, the more wisdom, knowledge that you gain, the more that you're able to realize that everything that you encounter in life can be a distraction to peace, because peace has always been there in every present moment of awareness. But in life, we get so distracted and we get so lost, and we enter what is known as ignorance. And ignorance is just the unknowingness of our true nature. Our true nature is that we are always peaceful. We are always Buddhas by nature. We were always born Buddhas. Buddha is just a term for being an awakened one. An awakened one is always at peace. They don't let their emotions or fears cloud their judgment. And if you are able to have this non-dual state of awareness, you're able to cut through all of the negativity in life, and you're able to live in, I know your audience will know of the term Zen. Zen is a term where you are just living in the moment of the present moment and totally open to that which comes and that which goes, with no attachment, with no craving. It's very simple, it's very profound. And this is Dharma. It's learning to live with everything that comes with no judgment.
Wow. Yeah. You're so chill. I can feel you through through the computer. It's like incredible. I feel like for many of us, just getting little pockets of those moments of Zen is like all that we can hope for. And I think that, the mind can be such a distraction, like you just shared. There's so many things that distract us, including our own thought forms. And I love that you've dedicated this portion of your life to a deeper understanding. And yeah, I'm so grateful for your willingness to come on and have this conversation today. I just want to see if there's anything else that you'd like to share to feel more complete about our time together.
Oh, I could go on for another 10 hours with you.
We'll save
Let me
it for
ask you,
another time then, maybe.
how did
Yeah.
you find me, and what topics are you interested in right now in your life?
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly sure how I found you. Definitely through divine guidance for certain. And when I had my own spiritual experience, I was downloaded with the awareness of the Great Awakening. And I was a staunch militant atheist, and I knew nothing of spiritual awakening or anything. So then when I found your map, the Galactic Federation was a big part of my near-death like experience, the Great Awakening, and the volunteers. And then I found your map and all of those things were on it. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm not just making this up in my head. Like other people have access to this information too. And then I was able to trace back the sources of all of that information from your map. So it was such a huge part of my own process. I feel like a total loop closing right now that I've gotten a chance to just kind of sit with you and talk with you. And so thanks to the audience for watching this beautiful moment happen in my life. And I'm so grateful for you and your contribution to our collective by creating this art, because I think that, number one, it's so fun to look at and it's so cool to explore. And I hope that the viewers also have the same experience that I had with it.
Thank you so much. Your words are so kind. I just want your audience to take away from this that if you look through the Great Awakening map, what I want my audience to realize is that there's a shift in consciousness occurring across our planet. And it's a shift in consciousness that has been predicted by ancient civilizations since the beginning of mankind. And it's a moment in reality where we discover the greatest secrets about who we are, where we're from, and where we are going. You have to understand that we are not alone in this universe. There are hundreds and thousands of extraterrestrial races who have been custodians of our planet for billions of years. They've been here for billions of years. And they're not going to let our planet become destroyed. We don't have to worry about that. But what we have to do is get our act together on Earth as humans. The ETs are simply watching over us, but they cannot interfere until we clean up our mess. And until then, can we become a galactic civilization? And this is the moment in our history as a species where we discover free energy, which is already here, but it has been kept secret and locked away by the global elites. The free energy will allow our civilization to instantly heal and clean up itself. Free energy will allow everybody to live a life of anything that they choose, with not having to work for money and not having to worry about lack of resources. All ET groups utilize free energy. And until we become a free energy civilization with no suppression, that's the moment where we begin to have a cosmic humanity. Now we have access to the entire cosmos as well as hyperdimensional realms. We're able to practice spirituality in ways that we could have never imagined. And we literally become a 5D society. This is where we are able to time travel. We are able to heal anything in our mind-body complex, even heal Mother Earth, heal other planets, heal other civilizations. We can travel anywhere in the cosmos. There's no limitation to what we can do. This is what is known as a 5D society. And at that moment, we are able to literally go out into the cosmos and help other beings as if we were ETs. So this is a very grand vision, but is already happening behind the scenes. And that's the whole point of the Great Awakening map, is to show you, to awaken you to the fact that these things are already happening within our Earth, as an inner Earth and outer space. There's breakaway civilizations that have existed off of our planet, where people have already built these technologies. They're already interacting with ET beings. They already have proof of all the things coming, including the great solar flash. And all of these beings, they are able to traverse death in ways that we could have never imagined. They view death as something that is just another day. It's just an event. It's not something that we on Earth are so fearful of, and we treat it as this grand negative aspect of our humanity. ETs and other higher dimensional beings don't feel death in the same way as we do as humans. They use it as an opportunity for evolving into a higher consciousness. That's the whole point, is to graduate and go to the next new thing. I don't know how to explain it other than that.
That's
But
wonderful. I'm looking forward to more conversations with you. Thank you again for coming and sharing with our community here. And we'll see you next time.
thank you so much for having me, Betty.